has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast, in the biggest way possible. Hanging out a bad seat, broken in a bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake it up, shadoobie, along with the Tutty and Tater King himself, the founder of the Aisle Seat podcast, the rights holder of the Sheet of Integrity, and the put it with the golf guru himself, Carver High, this afternoon, ladies. Mafia is running it along with Luke. I am your father. The rundown on a midweek. Where do you hurt? If you have pain, bring it in. We want to deal with it. We got Morency, a double shot from British Columbia. And that's in the first hour. Second hour, the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart, live in Toronto. And then in the final hour, there he is, Stewie, the one and only, from the Genesis at Torrey Pines, from Read the Line, Keith Stewart. It is a Golf Wednesday on C2C like you read about. And just so you know, we're doing live golf days as well on the show because we are living our, as Carver High likes to say, our best lives. And we need to gamble heavily on golf because everything else is relatively boring. Unless we're making money, we're not interested. Last night, again, Carver High, 3 of 4 NBA spreads. Boom. That's 11 of the last 14. Boom. Last night, at least 80% of the college basketball bets. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. And now, we will go Rogie Vachon later with our hockey selections in the 4 nations. And hopefully you'll be able to explain to the fans and the citizenry how the point system will work in these round robin and 3 meetings to determine who will play in the championship game. Because there are no semifinals. There is literally a tournament with just a final. I have no idea what is happening.
Yeah, happy Wednesday here. It is a Golf Wednesday on C2C, and we will have Cam and Stewie later. Of course, Genesis, Torrey Pines. Everybody's excited for a big signature event. Just to get off of what you're talking there, you're absolutely right. You're going to need a calculator, thesaurus, charts and graphs. You're probably going to need a little bit of everything to try to keep track of the 4 nations round robin system that they're going to have. So we will break all of that down for you later. Canada, Sweden tonight in the 4 nations to get things going. So in Montreal, of all places. So they're going to play the first few days in Montreal. And then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the final is in Boston. So Montreal for the first few games, Boston for the last couple of games in the tournament. So very exciting. That we are going to have. Indeed.
I'm excited about it. Now, look, I'm going to watch for like.
I'm going to watch tonight.
I'm going to watch, but I have a game tonight. So I have a game. So I have
Is this one of these 10 o'clock games?
Yeah, I got like a 9:30 tip. So I'm going to leave it at 10 to 9. I got to go there, and then I got to ball out. So it'll be over by the time I get back. But I will watch the, the first period, whatever, and get into it. And then when I'm at the game and I'm on the bench, I'll look at my phone to see who won. I am interested in it. I think it's a great thing. I know you can call it whatever you want, but to me, when you're taking on other countries, it's the same concept, Carver High, as me being at the Excalibur for the Super Bowl, which is the worst experience on earth, and just taking the reality of where I was out of the landscape and pretending like I'm at the Four Seasons in a 20-foot space. Wherever I was in that dump, I just pretended like I was at the Four Seasons. And I was able to have a magnificent Super Bowl experience. if I was having a drink with someone, I just said, isn't this a fantastic 5-star 4 seasons? One of my favorites in the world. And then it worked. Same thing here. I'm just going to pretend like it's the Olympics and they're playing international teams. They're playing against other countries. Thus, we need to hate the other countries and enjoy the experience.
That is what we will do. Canada, Sweden tonight, USA, Finland tomorrow night to kick off the 4-8 victory. That's what it's all about. It's all about victory, and that is what we're striving to do. We do have an enormous night NBA. We'll go through a few things from last night. Knicks did win in Indy. They got a huge night from Cat down in Indianapolis. So good win. And Hart had a 30-point night as well. He played very well. KD in the loss became the 8th player in NBA history to hit 30,000 career points. That's filling it up. And think about how much time that dude's missed in the last 5 to 6 years, and he's still hitting 30,000 career points. So nice job by KD last night.
Easy money sniper can definitely shoot. There's no denying that. He takes multiple vacations during the season. We like to call those calf injuries vacations.
Yes.
Oh, my leg. And then you get 10 days down in Cabo. All I know is he can fill it up. And think about this. It's truly amazing. 8 guys have done it. Think of that. And then realize that in the offseason they're going to trade him.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
Probably.
They
have to trade
probably.
him.
They're going to have to
the
trade
team
him.
sucks. They stink. They cannot get rid of Beal or Booker. No matter what, unequivocally. The only piece that can get them some sort of, rebuild is Kevin Durant. So they're going to deal him. Everybody else on the team stinks.
Everyone else on the team does stink. And did you see Embiid pass up that wide open 3 at the end of that game last night to try drive it inside, and he lost the ball? Fail.
I just know
fail
that
by Embiid last night. Fail.
I just know that we had Toronto again, and they covered.
Yes.
I could care less what their record is. They are an ATM machine for us.
They've been very good indeed. 15 games tonight. Everyone is playing in the NBA. That's because
that
it's almost time.
Late night, I'm watching games. Late night.
You have late night. You have 10:30 tip with the Grizzlies and the Clippers this evening at the Intuit. So you have late night games. Warriors, Mavs at 9:30. Lakers, Jazz again at 9. So you do have some late night action that will get you going, because tomorrow night's the last night for a week. It's gonna be like the NBA shuts down for a while. So we will get into all of that. We'll go through all the college rack from last night. Kentucky beat Tennessee for the second time. Michigan with the win over Purdue. And how about Hoosiers in East Lansing last night getting a win?
You gotta be kidding me. Will this spark a late season run? They finally win their 15th. They snap their skid. Their losing skid's over. And they stop Izzo from passing Bob Knight, all-time Big Ten wins. And they win at the Breslin. And they are cotton candy, as you know. I couldn't believe it. I almost fell over. Obviously, lost that bet. And I'm okay with that because I didn't see it coming. And I don't think anybody else did either. But will it lead to a late run? Can they win this game and turn it into something? Because right now, they're not in the NCAA tournament. No way.
No, they are not. Tons of games tonight that we will get to as well in College Rack. We said 4 Nations. It's a Golf Wednesday. We got baseball stuff for you today. A Pirates trade for this guy Horowitz. He's already got hand surgery.
Got a broken wrist.
Are you kidding me?
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Morency. Sports Rage is weeknights at 10 East to midnight along all of our outlets on the TV and radio side. We were just going through Morency's real estate tips, and he told me that all businesses and storefronts will be gone within 10 years, and everything will be mail order, and they will be filled with condos and banks. I just got a kick on. No more Carolines in New York City. It's gone. It's been long gone. All the rest will be swallowed up.
Well, CBGB's gone, long gone as well. People can't pay $200 to go to a comedy club, right? Storefronts and properties, you just can't keep up. Unless you're a sports team and you have a stadium and you get other people to pay for it.
Did you? How many bands did you see at CBGB's and like the Hammerstein and places like in New York that you saw?
I never
bands?
saw anybody at the Hammerstein, and one of the most famous shows ever was there. Actually, you know what? The one show that I missed in New York that I always wanted to see. I have the video of it. It was sort of the beginning of heavy metal. It was Venom. It was Exodus, Venom, and Slayer on tour, and they played Studio 54. It was like the official like nail in the coffin for disco when Slayer played Studio 54.
Do you think that you would have survived going to Studio 54 regularly if you were living in Manhattan back then in the day and gone there? Because a lot of people went there, like a lot of famous people went there, every week. They would go to the club and that's where they would party. I would have been dead.
Yeah, we would have had a good time. We would push the envelope.
Yeah. I wouldn't have made
with
it.
Ron Duguay and company.
He got a lot of chicks, that guy. I got to tell you. And he was doing like Ranger games forever as a studio analyst. And now they got some dork doing it. I mean, it is just awful compared to when Duguay used to do the games. I can't ever remember the guy's name. Mafia, look it up. Who's the guy doing it now for the Rangers? I was
thinking about that with Hubie Brown. When Hubie Brown's last game the other day.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you tune into basketball now and like, there's no like character. There's no one like, I want to really hear this guy's insight. You couldn't name who's the analyst for this, who's the analyst for that, or somebody in over their head. Right. It's just, there's no I was thinking back. Doug Collins was really good on TV. I thought Doug Collins. I was thinking back of like Mike
Czar
Fratello.
of the
Mike Fratello.
Fratello.
Mike Fratello. Doug Collins, Hubie Brown. When I think of the NBA, I sort of think of these guys, and I was like, I don't really think of anybody now.
I think the guy in the NHL, Randy Moeller with Goldie on Ice down in Florida with the Panthers. He's a funny dude. And he does all the movie lines whenever they score a goal. He brings up a movie. He's really good, but there really aren't. And I said this on the air emphatically that Hubie at 91, it was really weird. Like 34C walked into the room. She goes, "Is that guy dead?" And I was like, "No, he's alive. It's his last game. He's been doing it for 53 years. It's his final hurrah today. The last game he'll ever broadcast." She goes, "He looks dead." I go, "Get out of the room." And I said, "This is the greatest broadcaster, dude. He sounded as good at 91 breaking an NBA game down as he did 30 years ago."
Yeah, I think it was a lot like John Elway, actually, because it's true. When you saw him sitting courtside, you realize, because when you listen to him doing the games, you're thinking, well, he's retiring because he wants to. I mean, he's still pretty much on top of his game. Like, he really did not sound 91 years old on the air. But then when you saw him sitting courtside, I think it was more of the struggle, right? Like John Elway said after, I could have played in the Super Bowl. I just didn't want to go through training camp and the regular season again.
Right.
So, Hubie Brown could do it. You put the mic in front of him, but, you got to show up to the cities. You got to prepare for the games.
I think Dick Vitale
too much
still, he's 85, and Vitale did that game at Little John, and he hadn't done a game in 2 years. He had 20 chemo treatments and radiation, cancer,
it's the
multiple
passion
times.
For the game, man. It
and
keeps these guys going.
I still think he's very good at breaking down a college game and talking about the players and talking about teaching the game. I always have said my three favorites ever doing the job in basketball were Hubie Brown, Bob Knight, Dick Vitale, and Digger Phelps.
Growing up for me, and I think of college basketball guys, Dick Vitale, obviously, but like in the earlier days, I think of Al McGuire. He was my guy as a kid. Al McGuire as a kid growing up, like all the games on NBC. Remember DePaul?
He used to talk about pasta. He'd talk about food.
He'd have the wild suits and stuff. He was like Don Cherry before Don Cherry. Like he'd be wearing like your grandmother's couch, like in a.
Have you seen Don Cherry lately? Honestly, when I see he looks worse than
he's like
Hubie.
Hubie Brown. Yeah, he's getting up there.
But
Speaking
he looks worse than he looks like Hubie. He looks so old.
Well, they took Don was
Age
different.
Is mother Ferreller.
When you put Hubie Brown in front of a mic, you didn't have to worry about what he was going to say, at least, right? you put Don Cherry in front of a mic, and he was sort of that crazy grandpa that, hey, grandpa, times have changed. You can't say that. Like,
but I liked it.
He started to lose his filter on national television a little bit, and they had to say, all right,
But listen, when you grew up watching him, what was your opinion of him your whole life? How did it go from your youth until the end?
Well, for most of my life, he was a coach, right, on the Bruins against the Canadians. Right. They were rivals, so I saw him lose. Like the Canadians, I saw his life ruined, basically, growing up as a kid, being a coach with the Bruins. Right? And then, like, that's serious. Well, you know what? They were about to beat the Montreal Canadiens. They were about to beat the Canadians, and they had too many men on the ice. They were winning the game. They had too many men on the ice, and Guy Lafleur scored the famous goal, streaking down the side. And Don Cherry turns around. It's a famous, Don Cherry moment. It's his defining moment. He's in Montreal, too many men on the ice, and everybody's chanting, Cherry, Cherry, and he turns around. He looks at everybody, and he's like, you're welcome. And then the Canadians beat him after. Like, he hates the Canadians with a passion. He really does. But, yeah, another listen, Don Cherry, legendary figure.
So hold that thought, because I really want to come back and hear what you thought of him when he started broadcasting, and he wasn't.
Oh, he was a legend.
I want to hear your opinion of him.
slow play drumbeat grows louder and louder every week, to the point now that they're making overt references to it on the broadcast.
So there's plenty of other guys that have to get faster. Tom definitely is more deliberate in his conversations, always has been since he's been on tour. I just think about Joe Scavern, when those two started working together, how their conversations always seem to just keep on going and going.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
At some point, these 80s are to learn we don't need to hire ex-NBA guys. I need guys with college experience who's gone out and recruited, who knows how to develop talent. NBA guys with no college experience don't work in college basketball. I understand they run NBA-style offenses, but it doesn't mean they can run college programs.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
But if it ends up being 1 versus 2, which seems likely because the Cavs had a 5.5-game lead over Boston, the Celtics 3 games clear of the New York Knicks.
They're not unstoppable, not running away with everything, but for them to blow a 5.5-game lead on the backstretch in the NBA, already being a quality team outside of disastrous injuries, I don't buy that at this time.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Patino himself, in a clip that we just played, said basically the stats are not backing up the team's wins.
St. John's is offensive glass. That's where a lot of opportunities for St. John's came from. St. John's does not shoot the basketball well. It might even be fair to say they shoot it poorly. They were 3 of 16 from deep last night, but it doesn't seem to matter to them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
All right, just because we got to do the Four Nations betting for tonight and picks you got, but just your thoughts on him when he went to the mic and then kind of for the longest time it was like the number one show forever, and then at the end it was a train wreck.
He had the best gig ever, Scott, because they knew they set him up perfectly. He was only on for like 5 minutes a week. The guy was making like $1 million a year to be on 5 minutes a week, essentially. He was on for, after the first period, they go to a commercial break, they'd come back, boom, coach's corner. He'd go on a rant for like 5-6 minutes type of deal, and then boom, he was gone. He wasn't on after the game. You'll like this, Scott. This is like real old school hockey type stuff. He'd show up, and he didn't drink during the day or anything, but with about 5 minutes left at the end of the first period, he would crush 2 beers before he would go on the air. Just quick, like, not 20, but 2. Sort of grandpa style. Boom. 1, then boom, and it'd be like, all right, and you're on in 30. He'd slam the last one, and then he'd just come out firing. And he'd just go off the top of his head. It wasn't scripted, right? So that's what made it so good.
I don't have a problem with that. Like, when I did the Thrashers, I'd show up in the press box with a drink, and they'd say, you can't drink. I said, I got a drink to watch this team. Honestly, they were so awful. I said, shut up. I'll drink. Fire me.
I can tell you, though.
Honestly,
I got hours.
They were awful.
I got hours of Don Cherry stories, though. We don't have time for this now. But, like, yeah, Don's quite the character. We'll put it that way.
But did you love him when you were growing up and watching him?
Yeah.
Did you like him?
Yeah.
You liked him?
Yeah, I was a big fan of his. I didn't agree with a lot of his takes at the,
Were you friends with him? Were you friends with him ever?
No, I wasn't friends with him. I met him a couple of times. I was friendly with him. He was friendly.
He
he's
knew
sort
who
of
you
one.
were?
He's like a celebrity, bro. Like, so he's, he's hit or miss, right? Like, you could see Don Cherry literally, like Cam once saw Don Cherry in like a CVS pharmacy, and he was asking people where the peanuts were. Like, he was sort of lost where the peanuts are. And other times you can meet him and he can tell you, just go screw yourself. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he's kind of like a pro wrestler, Scott. You know what I mean? He's like, he's got a character, Sometimes he's in character. Sometimes he's not in character.
Right.
Is he drunk? Is he not? Like, there's a lot of Don Cherries. I'll put it that way.
So what's your plays tonight, including the Four Nations, Canada, Sweden? I don't like that Bennington goalie. I'm going to go Sweden. What the hell?
Well, listen, we crushed college basketball last night. It was a nice run on the college hardwood.
Yeah.
Tonight, though, I am looking forward to this hockey game, and I want to see how this tournament plays out tonight. Sweden are really good, guys. Like, Sweden's defensive cores here, they're stacked. And Sweden are stacked. Like, Sweden and Finland both play very strong two-way hockey. All right, USA and Canada are more sort of star-laden, but Sweden and Finland are just stacked with strong, second line, first line, third line NHL players that they're going to be difficult to deal with. Tough spot for Canada tonight. I like the under, guys. 6.5 to me is too high in this hockey game. Sweden invented the trap. All right, the so-called like Jock stuff that the Devils brought. It was actually called the torpedo. Peter Forsberg's father invented it. He used to be the coach of Team Sweden. Sweden, like, they're the ones that invented how to neutralize other teams. They're going to slow Team Canada down tonight. It's the first game of a tournament that these teams haven't played together before. They're all the best players, but, they've had 2 days to practice, literally and figuratively, these teams. Like, they both practiced on Monday and Tuesday, and here we're playing on Wednesday right now. I'm expecting a lower scoring game, Scott. I threw out a prediction last night, and everybody laughed. They were like, oh, that's too low scoring. That's not going to happen. I'm saying 2-2, and this thing goes to overtime tonight. That's my gut feel, Scott. 2-2 hockey game, and it goes to overtime.
Why not?
I love the under 6.5, and I think Sweden at plus a puck and a half, Scott, are very live tonight. Like I said, I think this is a 3-2 hockey game. Someone's winning 3-2 tonight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it. Any college rack that you want? There's a ton of NBA. What are you into?
Yeah, you know what, man? This Raptor team just keeps covering, bro. Last night, they were getting 10.5, 11 on the road against Philly. They went outright. Now they're going back-to-back. They're getting 13.5 on their home court tonight against Seatown. Give me the Raptors, plus the 13.5 tonight. Give me Coach Pitino, man. Let's ride the hot wave right now. I don't like picking on Nova on their home court here, but let's go with St. John's tonight on the college hardwood, Scott.
Getting it done at Nova and the start of the Four Nations. All right, Morency, have a good show. Good to see you. Thank you, my man.
They'll crush 2 beers like Don Cherry.
Why not?
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes, end of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game going do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, we go back to the NBA last night, and remember, tonight, every single team in the league is playing.
Everybody is in the mix tonight, and we will go through all of that in a little bit. But let's, recap. There's only 4 games last night, so only just a few things to go through. Grizzlies beat the Suns 119-112. As we mentioned at the top, though, the story here is Kevin Durant in the loss. He becomes the 8th player in NBA history to reach 30,000 points. Look at these names, Scotty, that he joins. LeBron, Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe, Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, and Wilt Chamberlain. Kevin Durant now sitting among those legends on the NBA leaderboard.
I mean, it's really impressive. It's just as simple as that. He can flat out score from anywhere. I've always thought his 2 favorite shots were the wing dagger and the elbow. He loves to get to the wing, shoot a 3. He loves to shoot from that elbow, either side, step back. And he's 7 foot tall. It's impossible to block his shot because he jumps up and then he releases backwards. His hand is like this when he lets it fly. He shoots up and over anything, and he's already taller than everyone else to begin with. He's had it going since high school in Maryland, in D.C., and I think that he obviously had it going in Austin, and he's had it going his entire career. I find it strange, to be honest, because I think he's, firmly, a guy that is mature now in his comments about basketball. When they talk about, the other day, someone was saying that their locker room's broken, and he said, I understand your job. I get it. I completely respect what you have to do is come into this room and think you can figure everything out because you have stories you have to tell and a job to do. I get it. He said, but you walk in here, we're all doing our own thing and getting ready for a game and stretching or getting organized or putting tape on or whatever it is. And you're just wrong. You don't know what you're talking about, but I appreciate that you think you do. When you come in once for 4 minutes, and we're in here every single day, every single night, every single game, and you show up once a season for 4 minutes and you have us all figured out. But good luck to you anyway for trying. I think he's mature now. He talks about business in the NBA maturely. I think he talks about trades maturely. When people ask him, you're going to be traded, he's like, not now. I'm just trying to make the playoffs. Can we table that for now? Honestly. And then he laughs like, this really isn't the time, is it? He's like, I just went 30,000. You want to talk about this? Like, really? Honestly. So I think he's gotten older and wiser. And I know he misses a lot, takes a lot of vacations, whatever you want to call it. But there's no denying his greatness as a scorer. This guy's a pure scorer. Sometimes when you play and you walk on the floor and there's people that can't stop you. I don't care who you are. If you know that you have an advantage over someone and he has why you end up with 30,000 points. Like, if they put some small dude on me, I'm going to score a ton of points. It's that simple. If I'm 6'4", you put some 6-footer on me. I play against this one guy. He's 5'10". He played at Villanova. Every time they try to put him on me, he says, I can't guard him. He's big and fat. I can't guard him. Put someone else on him. He's too big. Anyone that's small, take advantage. He takes advantage, Mike, of people that aren't able to guard him. And I think when you have that kind of skill, you can actually, as a pure scorer, actually break records and be the kind of player he's become. He's been around long enough to make 30,000 because no one can stop him.
And here he is, as you said, maturely talking about joining all those names in the 30,000 club.
Man, it's a true honor to be in the same category as those players who've helped shape the game and push the game forward. And that's always been my goal, is to get the most out of myself every day and the most out of my career. And so to be mentioned with those guys means I'm doing something right with myself. I feel like I'm, all the people that helped me out throughout this journey, I always talk about them and how much they mean to me and how much they impacted me to help me get to this point. So, just grateful for all my teammates, coaches, family, friends that just poured in me, invested in me as a basketball player.
Doctors, he had his Achilles torn and he came back. He is still very capable of playing in the NBA. He's skinny. He's not, a slob. He's in good shape for an old dude. He had his Achilles, reattached, fixed, and he's still out there balling out. He's so good. I'm not even kidding you. Now, I know people say I'm crazy. He's so good, I think he could play in LA in the Olympics. He's that good. LeBron's 40. He's not playing in those Olympics at 44. It's not happening. I don't think so. But I think this guy, no one can stop him. He doesn't even have to hustle. He does. Do you realize he's 7 foot? When he runs, he's so skinny. He's like Spider-Man. He takes 4 steps. He's down the other end of the court. When he runs, he's in 4 steps. He's in the other end. Fat Embiid, he walks. I'm surprised they don't have one of those airplane things that you stand on that glides you to the next terminal. I mean, honestly, this guy barely has to do anything. And then when he gets the ball, all he has to do is shake you and he scores. Shake, space, shoot. I tell it to my daughter all the time. Make a move, get some space, shoot the ball. Simple as that. I do it every time I play.
One other note from that game, Bol, first start as a Sun. 18 points, 14 boards, 4 blocks, 2 steals. Boy, Bol.
Honestly, did you see this guy? And he not only that, he makes behind the back passes. He can actually play basketball. And those numbers to me were staggering. That's why I sent them to you. I was like, what? I go, what? What is happening? This guy goes out and it looks like he's not even trying. And he put up some serious numbers.
He certainly did. Toronto beat the Sixers 106-103. This is the play I was referencing earlier. Embiid in the final seconds gets the ball at the top of the key, wide open three. He could have took nobody near him, and he tries to drive it to the net. Didn't go well on TSN.
105-103. Raptors with a 2-point lead, looking for their 5th win. Embiid loses it. Joel Embiid loses it.
Fail. Just a massive fail.
What a shame. And as you said earlier, the Raptors have become a bit of a cash machine for you this year. I'm going to give you the full ATS stuff in a little while, but for a team with the record that they have, they get you to the window, man.
It's unbelievable.
They do get you to the window. It's really good. And the Knicks beat the Pacers 128-115, 40 for Cat, 12 boards, 5 dimes, doing it all on TNT last night. Oh, I got time. Slide in, Cat, for me.
Inside for Shannon. Shot clock is down to 2, down to 1. All the way, Karl Anthony Towns making things happen for New York.
Your boy, the Birdman, getting involved. I think he's better at he's good at everything, but I like when he calls NBA games.
Yeah, he's a great NBA play-by-play
guy. He talks
guy.
more. He cracks more jokes, and he's fun with his analysts and sidekicks. He's good with them. Doing NBA's got more time to talk.
Flow. Football more, I guess they want you to be more serious on the football broadcast, whereas I think you got a little bit more of personality can get out when you're doing the basketball game. It's just a little bit different. All right, we'll come back.
We've been watching him do the Nets for a while now.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, you got all of the, who's the best and worst and everything. ATS, overs, unders, odds, MVP, you name it, league-wide, Skinny.
League-wide, Skinny. I will, there was one game I forgot, and I will just bring it up for this point. The Pistons destroyed the Bulls last night.
Cover.
They had a 71-29 lead at the half. The Bulls scored 29 points in the first half. On their way to getting rocked by 40 at home by the Pistons, and they play again tonight. Same two teams in Chicago. We'll give you those numbers in a little bit. Hope the Bulls give you a little bit of a better effort this evening. Best and worst against the spread. Our weekly look at this. Here's the best side first. Grizzlies, Cavs, Thunder, Raptors. There's the Raptors. We told you 32-21-1 the Raptors. Clippers and the Blazers now, after their hot streak, have made it into the top best of.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with any of that anymore. I mean, we have turned it into cash, money, homie. We got it all going with all these teams. When we had the Blazers, they covered in 11 straight games, whatever it was. And we were cashing every night. The Raptors spitting out 20s out of the machine. The Thunder, Cavs, and Grizzlies are three of the best teams in the league. Every night, cash flying out of the ATM. I mean, the bottom line is, I'm not surprised about any of those in the least.
No, not at all. The worst side of things, the Heat, Pelicans, Sixers, Kings, and the Suns. The Suns, an abysmal 18-34-1 against the spread.
I cooked them last night. You know, I had the Grizzlies. Hit 3 of 4. I've hit 11 of the last 14 spreads that we played. Now, hopefully tonight we can stand up to it. There's, 15 games, so the rubber meets the road tonight. Like, if you're hot, can you stay hot is the question. Obviously, there is certain levels of danger that I see on the board around every corner.
Lots of danger. When you have 15 games on the board, there's always going to be some danger lurking in several quarters. All right, up and away. The best over teams in the NBA so far as we're about to hit the All-Star break. The Cavs, 34 games to the over so far. Grizzlies, Nuggets, Pelicans, Knicks, Pacers, and Spurs. The best at going up, and away.
I mean, the only one I'm surprised about is the Pelicans. And, look, no one wants to hear this, and I really don't care. I was down there. And I was there for a week, and we kept going by this smoothie center, which is right next to the Superdome. And I thought to myself, literally, I said this, how does this town have an NBA team? Like, honestly, like, how do they have a pro hoop team down there? I mean, let's just get real here. They eat fish, oysters, crawfish. They drink booze. They got brothels, they got strip clubs, they got jazz, and they've got just massive murder and crime and drug infested streets. And then they got this basketball arena over by the river. I'm like, I looked at it, and then they showed us Zion on the side of the building, the guy that doesn't even want to be there and who never plays. And I got to tell you, I just don't think they should have an NBA team there. They don't deserve it. I mean it. Like, they got everything else. They got the seafood down pat. They got the jazz down pat. They got 11 Super Bowls. Congratulations. That's because the Crescent City is a party city. But to me, I'm not surprised they have the Saints. I am surprised they have an NBA team, and I'll live with it. I'm not afraid to say it. I think it's a bad spot for the NBA. And there's no players that like playing there. Not one. Not one. Anthony Davis couldn't get out of there fast enough. Zion wants to drown himself in the Mississippi River. He hates it so much. Don't tell me he likes it there. He hates it. The only thing he likes there is Acme Oyster Bar and, GW Fins. That's it. He likes food. There's no other reason. He hates that place. I'm telling you, he'd rather be in New York or L.A. as sure as I'm sitting here.
I don't doubt it. And I think they're on that list because they give up some nights like 130, 140
That's right.
points. Like, there's a lot of nights where Pelicans, they're hitting those overs because they're giving up a ton of points on a nightly basis, getting smashed. On the underside, down, Hornets, Magic, Nets, Clippers, and Celtics. The unders, best under teams in the NBA.
Yeah, explain that to me because, now all of a sudden the Nets are within striking distance of a play-in game. Why are the Hornets on there? They don't do anything for me other than LaMelo. LaMelo and Bridges are the only reason. Another, I'll give you North Carolina loves their hoops. They love college hoops. I don't believe they've ever loved the Hornets. Honestly, like they've been around there forever, and they don't draw, and no one cares about them. They're another disastrous NBA market. They really are. Let's get down to business here today and talk about teams that shouldn't be in places. You talk about Vegas and Seattle need NBA teams. There you go. Pelicans and Hornets should both move.
But the funniest part of it is that the Pelicans, they came from Charlotte. The Hornets moved from Charlotte to New Orleans.
That's even more bizarre.
That's where the original Hornets were moved to New Orleans.
You're right, that's how bad they are.
And then they gave Charlotte back a team. What do they call them? The Bobcats. And then they got the Hornets.
You remember
they got the Hornet
Michael
name
Jordan
back.
When he owned the team? What a disaster!
The Bobcats.
He didn't even go to the games. They were so embarrassing.
They've been bad for a really long time. We'll see if they can ever turn things around. We'll come back. I do have some updated awards for you as well. I even have, how about this coming up soon too? Some Ben Simmons for you. Very excited to be joining the Clippers and ready to play, contribute. Says he's ready to play.
The Black Cloud Diner. We're going to air him live on C2C. I have seen it all.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Honestly, Mike, I was just watching some of his highlights of his career with every single team, and I mean, Jesus H. Christ, this guy, when he was young, he not even, you can't even stop him now. I mean, to tell you, when he was young, coming into the league in OKC, his moves were just, I mean, silly string. I mean, you couldn't guard him. I mean, this guy had so many shake and bake moves and step backs and drag steps and dunks and flush dunks and poster dunks, and he had every trick in the bag. I mean, watching his highlights is, whew. He's got some of the greatest facial moves ever, dropping guys on the ground. Like, he's got like hundreds of them, guys breaking their ankles, falling down, being humiliated. It's crazy. Durant.
It really is. It is wild. Your boy, the Slim Reaper, getting involved. Your boy. He's not on this board. MVP update as we hit the All-Star break.
He's so good, he's got two nicknames. Easy Money Sniper, too. He's so good, he's got two nicknames.
SGA, minus 600 as we're about to hit the break. Joker, plus 425. Everybody else, out of sight. Way deep. Yeah. I mean, triple-digit type numbers. Just get him out of here. It's SGA. It's the Joker. That's it down the stretch.
Can we finally give it to Shai Gilgeous? And no, I think that Joker's just, I think he is probably the most undeniably difficult person to play against in the NBA or in the world right now on, many levels. On both ends of the floor, but he doesn't even care. Like, he just doesn't even show any sign. He'll literally say, like, he likes the horses better. He doesn't care about any of this. Like, can we give it to someone that actually cares, that wants to be great every night in the NBA? Like, this guy, Joker, I'll be surprised he's in the league in 2 years. Like, it's just like he's not even getting off doing it. Like, why play if you hate it so much? Give it to Shai Gilgeous. Stop with all this nonsense. He's had a better season than Jokic. Jokic triple-double every night. Still, Shai Gilgeous better.
Better indeed this year. He's going to get it. I don't see much of that changing as we continue on. Most improved player. This is always a hot topic. How do you actually gauge who's the most improved? But I think Cade Cunningham, who's minus 140 right now, that's a pretty good one. And Norm Powell, too, I think deserves some flowers. And he's plus 125. Still very close there with Cunningham and Norm Powell.
I mean, I sent you a story late this afternoon. He's one of 3 players in NBA history at his age to have the 4,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 1,300 dimes. Cade Cunningham. And Doncic is one of the other ones. I forget who the third one is.
Oscar Robertson.
Oscar Robertson. There you go. Oscar Robertson, the Big O, and Doncic and Cade Cunningham. Who's the most improved player? This also is over. This is over. He is the most improved player. No one, 3 guys, and he's one of them, in the history of the NBA have done what he's done. And you're not going to give him this cheesy award? Well, you better. Get your head on straight.
Third fastest was that note. 187 career games it took him to reach all of those numbers. As you mentioned, Big O and Luka, the only ones who did it faster than Cade Cunningham. And this guy, another guy who's missed a lot of time since he's come in the league. He's missed a lot of time.
And he plays on an absolute, for the first couple years of his career, on an absolute landfill trash team.
Yes. And the reason why that team is finally back in a playoff spot is because of him. He's the reason why that team is in there. And finally, the only other award I'll give you today, Rookie of the Year. And this has changed a lot. There's been a lot of guys who have been at the top of this odds board throughout the season. But Stephon Castle from the Spurs, plus 190 there. Ware there for the Heat at plus 220. And then Wells, Edey, Richeche, Sarr, a few others there in the mix.
Yeah, I'm pulling for Zach Edey, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But I'll tell you one thing. Everyone that thought he was going to be a bust can have a sandwich. That conversation's over. I mean, that guy is a true big in the NBA and can take on anyone in the league. There's no one he's afraid of. He's a monster. He's an absolute monster, and it's only going to get worse. He's just going to keep getting smarter, stronger, bigger, more muscle.
Patino himself, in a clip that we just played, said basically the stats are not backing up the team's wins.
St. John's offensive glass. That's where a lot of opportunities for St. John's came from. St. John's does not shoot the basketball well. It might even be fair to say they shoot it poorly. They were 3 of 16 from deep last night. But it doesn't seem to matter to them.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
In a short format tournament like this, like the Olympics, now this is even smaller, only 4 teams, who's got the best goaltending? You're talking 3 round robin games and then a knockout with 4 teams. So you're playing 5 games.
I'm not sold yet, Mike, on the USA stuff, on the merch, but I think I'm sold on the USA at least being in the final.
Only on SportsGrid.